Hey, as we've seen in class, industrialization definitely has a relationship with nationalism. As people and their pride and loyalty in their nation, that takes root, they're going to take advantage of an opportunity to grow their economies and sometimes even spread those economies to other places, and that's when we'll start talking about imperialism. But let's focus on simply how the industrialization begins with the Industrial Revolution, and what are the impacts, some positive, negatives, and then how it spreads. All right, so the transition in the way goods and services are produced, that modernizing with invention and innovation, that's what we're talking about when we talk about industrialism or industrialization of the 19th century. It's going to begin in Great Britain in the mid-1700s, late 1700s, and it's going to start really with an agricultural revolution again. Agriculture has a pretty common theme here when we get big movements of population doing different things, and we've seen that throughout history. So the enclosure movement, enclosure of land and ownership of land, will continue to exclude people from land ownership, so they'll move to town. That, along with crop rotation, further increasing productivity, more food, less work with less amount of people, is going to give them more money to be able to do other things with. So now that food is going to be at lower prices, they got more money to spend on other stuff. Okay, the factors of production are also available in Great Britain. The factors of production are the variables that are needed to make production happen, whether it's a good or a service. That comes to natural resources, labor, capital, which can either be money or the tools necessary, which we'll see, and of course management, decision-making styles. Wages are going to play a role here. That and coal are going to play a tremendous role in being available in Great Britain for this industrial revolution. High wages will encourage innovation and invention. If you have to pay people a lot of money to do a job, you're going to look at ways at reducing the number of people you're going to have to pay. So you're going to be inspired or encouraged to innovate new tools, new technologies, new innovations. This is to cut labor needs. So the ease at which coal is also available here is going to provide a quick, cheap fuel source to power those machines that are being created. Inventions definitely lend themselves to the textile industry, and really the textile industry is the jumping off point for this industrial revolution in Great Britain. Many new inventions in this field are perfectly fitted to be powered by water initially, and then the steam engine, which of course you need coal, which is, as we've already said, readily available. Transportation and railroads play another role in this. The need to move many of these products creates a motive to create faster and stronger vehicles. The railroad is definitely a fit for that, using the, of course, already created steam engine. Railroads need steel, steel to need railroads. So these industries are going to help each other and also benefit from other industries as they are growing. So you can see there's a across-the-board growth model here that's being created. Let's talk about how this is going to impact life. One thing that's going to happen is something known as urbanization, which we've mentioned before, the growth of cities within a society. With limited land and availability of jobs at factories, this will lead to many people moving to the city for opportunities. More people in one place has its benefits, but of course it also has its consequences. Living conditions, as cities will grow too fast, many times the governments of those cities are unprepared, the infrastructures are unprepared, and sometimes even greater problems with sanitation and crime can result. Working conditions, these are going to be long hours in these factories. It's all about making the money for the ownership of the factories. Care and nurturing of employees is not going to be found. So very dangerous, not any protections for workers, and this is also going to lead to some growth of class and some struggles amongst classes. The middle class, this is going to be growing business owners and merchants. They're going to be challenging aristocrats for power. We've seen that many times, that when this middle class grows, changes are coming down the line. They're going to increasingly be able to provide a comfortable standard of living at that level of population. The working class is going to see little improvement in conditions. They're going to be in danger of losing jobs to machines. Many times you will find groups of these workers damaging the machines that they work with because they feel like these machines are, much like you see today, people blaming robotics and automation on job loss instead of improving their skills and techniques to be able to be more marketable. Positive effects. All right, here we go real quick. More jobs are available. More jobs means a growing economy. A growing economy means stability and power for the nation. Another positive effect, nations will grow in wealth, but this is not going to be equally on a global scale. There's going to be an increasingly north-south conflict between the nations that are growing in wealth and the nations that are being manipulated in that relationship. Life will improve with inventions. Consumers' goods will make tasks easier. You're going to see things that had often been done by hand now have products that can aid and assist people in doing those tasks. Relatively healthier living, more nutrition results in longer lives, better health care perhaps. New jobs are going to emerge. Engineers and professionals are going to be needed in these new business models. And if you're able to see that achievement in your socioeconomic hierarchy will have its benefits, you will aspire to be those positions. Negative effects. Work in factories and mines are dangerous. Business owners have unchecked power. There's really not a two-way street necessarily on that relationship, not for the 19th century anyway. Classes also at lower levels will resent the status of the elites. The people over the lower classes of society are not necessarily protecting those lower levels, much like we saw during the feudal societies of Europe and beyond. Governments are also not able to handle many of the responsibilities that the population may need when it comes to health, when it comes to crime, infrastructure needs, and beyond. As improvements come and the olds become outdated, many times cities will lose position and the next power center will emerge, so the old city will become obsolete. As industrialization will spread, the emphasis will be on heavy industry. That will be the leader here. That makes sense. Corporations will become new business practice models that provides fast, effective growth. Nations gain power with industrialization. They will invest. The American Railroad is an example of that. The American government invested very heavily in the American Railroad as it pushed westward, and the benefit was exponential. It grew the wealth of the nation, the power of the nation, and there were consequences for those who stood in the way. The gap between the rich and poor nations will increase. We've already said that. And also, finally, societies will change as new systems on how to make and move and even communicate emerge. Understand that change is good, but sometimes when it comes very rapidly, as it will during this century, it can create problems. Thanks.